With parish approval and fundraising underway for the renovation, the church prepares for the third time in its history for a revitalization to its home. Deacon Paul Lambert recently visited Al Oakes, the architect who designed the new church 25 years ago, to remember some of the unique charm that makes the church so different today.
So when did we start talking about the renovation?
Well, I was invited down by Ray to come look at the church. He wanted to talk about some ideas, and the ideas just developed into bigger ideas.
When we started talking about doing more, I think part of the reason I think is that Father Ray probably was so excited about pursuing more. Like his original intent was to change this backdrop curtain behind the crucifix, which was where the big stained glass window is now. But I can remember back before the renovation, how if you sat in the last pew, it was very difficult to feel part of what was going on at the altar because you were so far away and there was no kind of connection with other people. You just saw the back of people's heads.
Correct.
And so you had the idea of changing the access.
Well, we're trying to gather as Catholics, coming together, and from our busy mornings of getting kids ready and whatever difficulties we've had for that week, joys that we've had, and we just wanted to have coming together as a family. Well, the structure, the way it was, didn't really help us with that because Diamond Hill Road was the entry point. There was a side door right near the sanctuary. It was kind of awkward if you were a little late for Mass. So we took the opportunity of wrapping everyone around from their parking locations, if you will, right to the side of the building, a new entrance to that structure. And everyone can come together at one focal point before going into the place of worship. That was the intention. And so when you came into that focal point, you still had the altar straight in front of you. And then chairs were placed, or pews were placed into the original sanctuary. That was the intention.
So the creation of the gathering space, what was that for? Why such a significant, what we call the gathering space when you come in before you enter into the church proper? Why have something significant like that?
Ray was phenomenal. He was the most welcoming priest I've ever met.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody like him.
Right.
That is his charism, that is his gift of
it
welcoming.
is.
Yeah.
And I thought that's a perfect opportunity for him to greet people and feel welcome, have more space for people to congregate around, talk to each other, talk to you and other pastors, the altar servers. And it just gave us the opportunity of an entry point before we began our celebration.
Almost like a decompression chamber too.
Absolutely.
Also, right? So before you go into the holy space, you can get in that place and kind of transition from the outside and talk with Father Ray or see other people, and the acoustics in that are very live. So
yes, they are.
That works really beautifully.
Yeah, and then we had the folding wall, the glass wall, and we put glass in it that looked like rainwater, I think it was. And it gave us the opportunity for Easter, other holidays, celebrations. We just open up the whole wall so you can have that liveliness at the entry into the church, or you can kind of close it down if you need more intimacy within the worship space too. So the structure that we originally started with had all these ribs that we couldn't make them go away. So I kind of looked at that as a whalebone, and thinking of Jonah and the whale.
Oh, the big arches. Yeah,
arches.
You can definitely see. Oh, see, I forgot that. Yeah, okay.
So what we did is we peeled away some of the skin of the whale to introduce this new element of a new sanctuary. The original problem to resolve was that Diamond Hill Road was the main entrance to the church, and everyone saw everyone else's heads as you came into the church. By changing the axis of the church, you could actually see faces and shoulders and the backs of people, but just all elements of people as you came to worship. These are the old sketches that we found. This bottom portion here was the old baptismal font, that it was too difficult to lift a baby all the way up to that height and make it functional. So what we did is, again, paid attention to the old elements, moved it within inside the sanctuary.
So we kept the original font
That is
to
the
integrate,
original.
to remember those people who built the parish and to do
use
something
that.
new and utilize it. Okay.
And then we took the doors of the original tabernacle, had that repolished, reused again, and we needed to create a housing for the doors for the tabernacle. So I found this stone that was in a mason's yard. And
What kind of stone is that?
I want to say it was Sienna from Italy, and it was just a remnant that was thrown aside. So we're looking around, and the stonemason was thinking I was looking for something a little more polished, a little more edge to it, and it's not exactly what I wanted at all. I wanted something rough, like a cave, a tomb. And so I had the idea of Lazarus' tomb, where it would be used by Jesus. So we kind of used that rough stone. I can clearly see the guy putting the stone on a block, and he says, "You want to do what with this?" And he took this wedge of a hammer and hit the top of it and broke off the whole side. And he said, "That's what you're going to get. That's what I want."
Wow.
And so we did that to all the sides and made this new housing for it. So it gave the opportunity for Ray to open the door, rest the Eucharist onto a ledge, and then close the door if he wanted to. It gave it more flexibility than what he had before.
Right.
So this entrance, this placement of the sanctuary gave us a great opportunity to allow light. Since everyone's coming to church in the morning, the sun is coming from the east side. This was the shadowed side. So we made this top with this glass top, basically, so as the sun came up, it would come over the ridge of the roof and cast this indirect light against the back wall into the sanctuary space, into the altar. And so it got to a point where this is turning out to be something of a great opportunity. I think that's when I needed more help and for the gifts of the parish to come about. And that was the introduction of putting stained glass windows into the back. We had the side windows. We had a slit at one time that allowed just a direct focus point of light coming through. And then you started with the Chagall window.
I think we had discussed the idea of 12. If we did 12 windows and what works with 12, so 12 apostles obviously would work. And then I was thinking of how impressed I was with Chagall and what he had done, particularly at Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem, where he had created these 12 windows representing the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Israel. And I thought, because I love reflecting on the Jewish origins of Christianity, that Jesus and the apostles were all Jewish, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could somehow utilize or somehow incorporate Chagall's windows into our sanctuary, and there would be 12. Now, the pulpit is very fascinating because it has those...
the scroll ends.
The scroll. Right. So those are scrolls.
They are scrolls. It was, again, tying back into our old heritage of Jewish upbringing. Not me personally, but I mean, just the heritage of the Catholic Church, where it all came from, where Jesus is coming from. And so we made this scroll. It looks, as you're doing the reading, it looks like someone opened the scrolls, left it open, and the book was on.
It reminds me of in the Gospel of Luke, where it talks about Jesus going into the synagogue, and it was his turn to read. And it said, and he went and he opened the scroll, because they didn't have books then. They would have scrolls, parchment. And so he opened the scroll and he read from the book of Isaiah. And so when I look at that, I think of the image of Jesus opening the scroll and reading, not from a book, from the scroll. And so that design element just brings that memory of the gospel to that.